Hello everybody, thought I'd come back and do a video ranking one of my favourite directors. So not only one of my favourites, but one I've got a lot of films of. So spoiler alert, the next part it'll be John Carpenter films. Um, got some favourite directors that I've only got a few films by. Maybe I've seen them, but I don't own them, or some are hard to get. Some like David Lynch, I got quite a few. This one is David Cronenberg. So quite hard to rank because not really any of the films I hate. It's a few I don't own by him. One's like, is it called A Dangerous Method? Madam M Butterfly. I'm trying to think. I think Metropolis it might be called with I'm just trying to think of his name. Robert, the guy at the lighthouse used to be in Twilight. Anyway, let's get on with this one, right? So, least favorite Existence. I think is how you say it. I'm gonna watch it again. Like I said recently, doing these videos, sort of when I look through films, gives me inspiration to watch films again, watch ones that I sort of haven't seen for a long time or liked and haven't sort of rewatched to see if they grow on me. Some I didn't kind of care for, but to watch again, I always think depending on the mood you're in. You know, if you're feeling a bit ill or tired when you're watching a film, then you just ain't gonna sort of be in the right zone, or you ain't gonna be concentrating, focusing enough to take it in. But anyway, Existence. So Jude Law, Jennifer Jason Lee. I think I've seen other things with her in. Can't remember Christopher Eccleston or William Dafoe. Yeah, it's like a weird sci-fi film, bit of like a body horror where he crafts like a sort of gun out of like human tissue. Like I said, I'll have to watch this again because I haven't watched it for about 10 years, and I watched it all the way through, but I can't remember too much of it to tell you the truth. So yeah, none of these I hate, but as I had to sort of rank them, it was kind of hard to put them in a order. But yeah, that's the one that at least I remember the least. Dead Zone. I think it's based on a Stephen King book. I think the book is out of like Skeleton Crew or 2 Minutes to Midnight. It might be called, which are basically like a collection of short stories. Yeah, I mean it's got Christopher Walken and Martin Sheen, so it should be more interesting than it is. And I think Martin Sheen's like a politician or something. Again, I can't remember this one too much. Say that one is quite a Cronenbergy film, Existence, just because it's sci-fi and it's body horror. But yeah, this don't really feel like a Cronenberg film, more of a commercial. Yeah, again, maybe I should have watched these before I do the ranking, but obviously there's so many films I've got on the rewatch slash two watch slash new watch list that it's just hard to get round to them all, especially with the hours I work and stuff. Um, so yeah, can't really remember too much of it to tell you the truth, but yeah, I mean I enjoyed it. I can't remember thinking it was awful. This one I was tempted to put at the bottom under the others, under Dead Zone and Existence, just because it's basically David Cronenberg's newest film. I think on the short films by David Cronenberg there was the old version of this called Crimes of the Future, but it's like an early work, so it's a really low budget kind of older film before he did like Shivers and Rabbit and that. I think. Yeah, I mean this has got some good imagery, like body modification. There's a guy with like ears all over him, you know, when you see it, which is interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I just find the atmosphere of this and the sort of pacing not boring, but yeah, I didn't rank it the lowest just because I've only watched it once. I mean, obviously I've watched these once, but I did watch those a while ago. Whereas because it's a bit more recent in the memory, I can remember a bit more about it. But yeah, these three are interchangeable, really. I don't really want to, rank any as the least favorite, but it's obviously got to be done to put them in an order. So yeah, it's usually it's films I've seen or I research on before I pay this much for them. This is the 4K second sight, cost me about 40 quid or so, but I heard quite good things about it. And being David Cronenberg, I just kind of blind bought it, and I don't regret having it because it's a nice addition. And I might watch it again and really get into it. There's been some films that I watched a while ago and thought were okay, and then on the rewatch, I really enjoy them and they become like one of my favourites or something. So yeah, Crimes of the Future, Spider, Ralph Fiennes, I think is how you say it. Gabriel Byrne, I can't remember him being in it. He's out of Hereditary and Stigmata. Um, Ralph Fiennes is really good in this. A bit more of like a character study. Guy who's like had a really hard life, and then I think he comes out of like is it a prison or orphanage or something? And he's living in this like grotty kind of house. Yeah, again, I can't remember too much. I remember it's quite a bit more of like a dark kind of slow paced drama. But yeah, I remember really good acting. It's well made, but again, for me, David Cronenberg's at his peak, as you'll see at the top of the list, when he's doing body horror and films with higher concepts and a bit more action. And whereas, yeah, this is kind of, I'd say, even slower than Crimes of the Future, Existenz, and Dead Zone, but that's just because of the kind of film it is. But yeah, I do need to watch it again, because I do remember Ralph Fiennes' really good performance. But yeah, one of the most un-Cronenberg kind of Cronenberg films, really. And then Scanners. I've got this nice triple sort of box set. Number 2 and 3 aren't by Cronenberg. Can't really remember them. Number 1 is good. I mean, really, it's all about that scene near the start. It's not a spoiler. I'm sure everybody knows this. But the head explosion scene. When our first 10 minutes, I was like, oh, this film's going to be amazing, especially when I was a kid and I first seen that film. But the rest of it, it's entertaining. But yeah, it's not one of my favourites by him. Obviously, better than these other 4 or so. But yeah, I do think it's kind of slightly overrated. I guess just, yeah, that sort of hell explosion scene. Obviously, it's got Michael Ironside, really good acting in it. But yeah, on the whole, don't love it too much. Crash. It's a well-made film. It's better made than all these others, I'd say. Good acting and stuff, but bizarre film. Quite sort of weird. It's not really a spoiler to say this, but basically people with fetishes for car crashes get turned on seeing them or being in them, and yeah, it's original, I'll put it that way. I think it came out on the Arrow 4K a little while ago, but I just didn't bother getting it because I just don't love it that much. I just find, as we'll see later, there's some other Cronenberg better films, for The Brood, for example, that if I was Arrow, I'd be putting that out before Crash. I mean, I guess it's got its fan base, and I know a woman I work with that really likes this one, but yeah, to me, yeah, it was a well-made film. Again, it didn't feel that Cronen. I'm not saying Cronenberg should branch out, as you'll see later. Some of his more conventional films are some of my favourites, but just because they're well-made. Whereas, yeah, Crash is well-made, but just didn't really get into it too much, to tell you the truth. I will give it another watch. So you've got Shivers. So I've got this old DVD one. I think I picked this up in CX years ago. It was actually quite hard to find at the time, and then Arrow put out this nice Blu-ray. Yeah, I mean, I quite enjoyed this. Obviously, this is a bit more what you'd expect from Cronenberg. Quite disturbing, quite sort of intense. Even though it's a low budget, I think is his first. It's either that or Rabid is his first. I can't remember now, but yeah, you can sort of tell it's early and things. But yeah, for me, this is more what I expect from Cronenberg, really. And yeah, there's a scene in like the swimming pool without going into it too much, which is messed up. But yeah, I'd say this is the kind of blueprint of what Cronenberg would go on some of the better films to do. But yeah, quite a nice Arrow version, and then this DVD, which when I got double dipped on some of these, I look through the select collection now. Some of these DVDs, I would trade them in, but CX give you 10p at certain forums. A joke. Eastern Promises. So Viggo Mortensen, Naomi Watts, Vincent Cassel. Really well made film. A bit more of like a sort of crime drama. So yeah, a bit more conventional than you do. Cronenberg is a really diverse director, to be fair, but as you'll see, my favourite ones from him are more sort of body horror. I've only seen this once. I can't remember watching it, so it stuck in my head, but I think it's a sequel to one we'll see in a bit on the list, which is a much better film in my opinion. But yeah, like a Russian kind of gangster film, but Viggo Mortensen is really good in it. He does put on a good Russian accent, to be fair. And next, you've got Naked Lunch. I've got this Arrow 4K where the slip cover bloody always comes off. Look, it's got a little sticky bit, but it barely sticks on. And then this DVD. I do quite like the artwork on the DVD. If the typewriter, that's nice artwork of. I can't remember what are they called? Oh, they've got a name, these creatures. I can't think what it is at the moment. But they're known for their what's the word? Sexual ambiguity? Oh, I can't remember it now. But yeah, bizarre film, weird. Based on the novel by, I think it's William S. Burroughs. Everyone always said this would be impossible to make into a movie, but he does. And yeah, the storyline's hard to follow. It's in a spoiler, but basically some guy bored of his job. It's Peter Weller, actually, out of RoboCop. Other than this and Leviathan, sorry, Robocop and Leviathan, this is one of the better films I've seen him in. I haven't seen him in too many things, but um, yeah, I think he's like unhappy in his home life, and he's got like a wife, and then basically he's a bug exterminator, and he starts huffing the bug powder, and then he's hallucinating. And horror film to follow, but I mean, if you just want bizarre visuals and a bit like some by Alejandro Jodorowsky, or what's one I was talking about the other day? A few David Lynch. That's another one I was saying was really weird. Happiness of the Katakuris by Miike Takashi. Yeah, there's a few that, if people are going to do psychedelics and watch films, then that's probably going to be too much, to be fair, if you're on psychedelics, because it's already fucked up and weird. Dead Ringers. I think this is probably one of his most underrated ones. I think this was made for TV, like an ITV film, yeah. But Jeremy Irons is amazing in this. He basically plays two twins, um, and they're gynecologists. Let me double check. Yeah. Yeah, I knew they did operations. I wasn't sure if they were surgeons that just do some gynecology, is that the right word? But yeah, obviously he plays both the twins, and they're sort of dating the same woman, and she doesn't know there's two of them, but good acting, some really good scenes, breathtaking visuals, a bit when they're doing the surgery in this like red gown, and the brothers. I think they are like, again, spoiler, they were like conjoined, they've been separated. Obviously, they've been each other's sort of side, no pun intended, for all their lives, and then they start sort of falling out and things, and then it sort of spirals from there. But yeah, I think other than Salem's Lot, maybe the best made for TV, or what's the other one called? Bad Ronald? Yeah, one of the best made for TV films I've seen, to be fair. It's kind of, don't know if it had a cinema release or it was just straight onto ITV, but deserved one, put it that way. It's a really impressive film. History of Violence is one I was on about earlier. I think this Eastern Promises is like a kind of sequel, at least a spiritual sequel to this. Yeah, this is really good sort of crime film, some good gore, a twist, some sort of unexpected bits. Viggo Mortensen's really good in it. This guy, is it Ed Harris? Let me double check. Viggo Mortensen. Ed Harris, yeah, Ed Harris is really good as like a villain in it. Scene with the coffee, like a glass coffee jug, is all I'm going to say. Pretty shocking. Yeah, really well made. I'd say it's one of probably his most, not well known, but when I speak to mates that don't really know Cronenberg, they've seen History of Violence and they've maybe heard of like The Fly or something, but they wouldn't know some of his deeper cuts. Whereas yeah, I'd say that's a bit more of his like one of his more successful films, probably one of the better selling ones as well. But yeah, I was tempted to have this a bit higher on the list. I mean, I'd say it's a better film than a few I've got coming up, but again, the ones I've got coming up, I keep on sort of repeating myself. Just my sort of niche of what I like from Cronenberg is his kind of messed up body horror. So, got The Brood. Yeah, again, I think this one's an underrated one. Really like this one. It feels like a double disc. Oh yeah, so I remember now. It's got I've got the disc the wrong way, but I think one's the American version and one's the British. And I think that's the UK version. I think the American one's got like 3 minutes of extra footage. But yeah, I really like this one. I remember hearing about this as a kid, but I never seen it. It's a really shocking scene near the end. I won't spoil it, but what happens with this sort of woman, you can see on the back. It's got what's his name? Oliver Reed. Really good performance by him. Yeah, I mean it's a straight up horror. It's obviously got body horror, but it's not really got sci-fi elements. But if I can remember, let me have a quick read of the back. Misshapen. Oh yeah, so it sort of tells you on the back. I didn't want to spoil it, but that's basically the brood of these like weird sort of small kids with like deformed faces, and they like attack people and stuff. But yeah, I think basically the woman, her emotional trauma manifests physically. So Oliver Reed's character he's like a doctor, and he wants her to go to this sort of respite lodge kind of thing. I haven't watched this. I've watched it a few times, but I haven't watched it for about 5 years. So need to watch this again. But yeah, I do really like this one. I think that's an underrated Cronenberg film, to be fair. It's next to kind of quite interchangeable. I'd say this one's a better film, The Fly. better made film, one of the best remakes I've ever seen. So I had this DVD 15 years ago, probably. Watched it quite a lot of time. Did see this on TV as a kid, and then again, I was like 15 and enjoyed it, but upgraded it to this nice still. I don't think this cost me that much at the time. I think it's only about 15 for the steelbook. And as I've said before, I don't get too many steelbooks, but it's one of my favourite films. And I think when I very first started collecting Blu-rays, maybe I bought this. So yeah, probably like I've been collecting films for like 20 years, but it was more DVDs. Whereas, like I said in another video, Predator was the first Blu-ray I got, and then maybe followed by Jaws, Mrs. Doubtfire, Home Alone, Jurassic Park. Well, actually, no, I've still got Jurassic Park on DVD, but sort of tried to get the classics first, and then yeah, pick this one up on Steelbook. But yeah, really good body horror, really good special effects, good acting. Probably the best I think I've seen Jeff Goldblum in. Gina Davis really good in it. Emotional, sympathetic. You do feel bad for them when he's changing. Arm wrestling scene. I remember everyone in the playground was talking about that as kids. Uh, Sci-fi horror. This one. Um, yeah, I'm sure you've all seen The Fly. I don't think there's too much more I can say about it, but yeah, I would say the best film he's made technically, but not my favourite. So my favourite Videodrome. So yeah, like I say, I think Fly is a better made film, but this for me is just peak what I want from Cronenberg. So I like kind of a bit of sci-fi elements mixed in with body horror, surreal visuals, creepy. I wouldn't say it's disturbing, but there are some sort of unsettling scenes, horror. It's kind of ahead of its time in terms of I think this is really before reality TV came around, like before obviously, it's the 80s, but before like Big Brother and all that, where basically channels where people are like being killed live, like snuff sort of things, and he's sort of an executive for a channel that's looking for new content, and he goes down the rabbit hole. Deborah Harry, aka Blondie, really good in this. I think it's her first acting role. Maybe she's been in stuff since I haven't seen her, but I was quite surprised. A lot of singers when they go to be actresses, they're performers, so they've got some sort of chops, but they don't translate well on maybe delivering the dialogue and what would you call it, like hitting your I can't think of the word. I think the director's like, I want you to this left side of the scene for this, and then you need to got these stats hitting your like cues, your points, kind of. But no, she's really good in it. It's a bit, isn't really a spoiler, but when she says to James Wood's character, "I want you to take out your Swiss Army knife and cut me here," and it's just really good delivery from her. Yeah, I mean, let me know in the comments your favourites. If you'd have any higher than this, I think in a lot of people's would probably be The Fly. Maybe Videodrome would be up there for quite a few. Um, Obviously, if there's any you could think of that I haven't got that are good, there's one or two I can't think of the name, but the ones I haven't got, like Madam M. Butterfly and is it Dangerous Method, which is based on the story of Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud. Keira Knightley in just didn't really appeal to me too much, to tell you the truth. I should get it so I could complete the whole thing, but yeah, I've rambled on long enough as usual. So yeah, be not interested to know anybody else's opinions on these. Thank you for watching, everybody. Bye.